Well, the World Health Organization has given the green light for the use of weight loss medications like Ozempic as long-term treatments for obesity. Many consider the GLP-1 class of drugs to be a game changer, though there have been recent warnings about the effects of the medication on mental health. Let's bring in Dr. Terri-Lynne South, who is a dietitian and chair of the RACGP Obesity Management Group. Terri-Lynne, good to have you with us this evening. Now, firstly, what do you think prompted the WHO to issue this endorsement for GLP-1 drugs to treat obesity, and how significant is this endorsement?
I think the endorsement is very significant. We must understand that the WHO is looking at global recommendations. So it's looking at both developing countries as well as well-developed countries. And the role of this, relatively new and, to be honest, expensive medication in one part of obesity management. And so I feel as though it's almost like, a gameplay of how different countries from governments with regards to policymakers as well as public health as well as clinicians can understand the role of GLP-1 in the broader context of obesity management.
And can you explain to us how drugs like Ozempic can work to treat obesity?
So these GLP-1 medications are replicating a natural hormone in our bodies that regulate our hunger and our fullness signals, as well as enhancing the effects of insulin. It has a significant impact on metabolic health conditions like type 2 diabetes, as well as cardiovascular risk reduction, but also in regards to weight management, regulation and weight loss.
And as an expert on obesity, do you consider Ozempic and other GLP-1 drugs to be a game changer, because there is this global fight against obesity across the world?
So what's most significant about these GLP-1 class of medications is that they have almost doubled the percentage of weight loss that is expected with medications. So we have had obesity management medications for many years, but the relative impact on weight loss, as well as some of the associated health conditions, has not been as effective as this new class of medications. So they are a game changer in regards to how much more effective they have been, and not only in regards to weight loss, but obesity management more broadly in regards to impacts on health, quality of life, and what we would call complications or associations, other diseases that go hand in hand with obesity.
Yes, but is it important that there is that we distinguish between using GLP-1 drugs to treat obesity versus for purely weight loss purposes? Are there potential dangers in that?
Yeah, look, I agree. I think that obesity management is not about weight loss per se, but it's about health gains. And although some people might suggest that that's a semantic, I really do think that obesity management is more than just weight loss. We certainly are seeing health gains with this GLP-1 class of medication that seem to be greater than what we'd expect with weight loss alone. I am also a proponent of helping people improve their health independent of weight, and certainly weight loss alone is not necessarily for health improvements, quality of life, and reducing the complications of obesity.
So the Therapeutic Goods Administration did recently warn that some people do experience suicidal ideations when using GLP-1 drugs. Tell us about the side effects. Should users or potential users be concerned by this?
I think it's really important for potential users to understand that there are a number of what we would call known side effects, and you could class them as common, rare or very rare. But these medications are relatively new, so they're going what we call post-market surveillance monitoring under the black triangle screen. So we're looking for safety signals that were not seen in the original trials now that more people are using them. And then most recently, the TGA has announced that there may be a potential increased risk of suicidal thoughts with these medications. Now, it's not a foregone conclusion that it's a causing, but there is some concerns that there might be an increased risk. There is conflicting data, which is why it can't be a black and white, this equals that. But I do think that the potential serious life-threatening consequences of increased suicidal ideation is enough for the TGA to come out in making people, both consumers as well as prescribers, aware of a potential risk.
So in that respect, should there be more testing?
I think there is a very good scheme already in place that has been around for a very long time, the TGA with the adverse drug reaction scheme, Black Triangle monitoring scheme. So this goes for 5 years after a new medication comes to market. I think it does very well in Australia. Australia has one of the best drug safety monitoring post-marketing surveillance schemes. So this is ongoing, and I think that the more people that are using these medications, being aware that we can actually voice any concerns about potential side effects. Both users can directly report, but also prescribers are expected to report any possible concerns. There doesn't have to be proof. And so this is how we can get an idea of potential concerns to raise issues like the TGA has most recently.
Yes, and then earlier in the year, there were reports about concerns for supply, particularly for those living with diabetes. Is that the case now, given that it is a drug that is encouraged for treatment for obesity?
Within Australia, semaglutide at that lower dose, 1 milligram, otherwise known as Ozempic, is no longer on the medicines shortage list. But certainly, harking back to the WHO, the World Health Organization report, that was one of its concerns, is about health inequities. So certainly in Australia, we've seen health inequities in access to these important classes of medications, both recently, as you mentioned, with regards to supply. But the biggest inequity at the moment in Australia is the cost of these medications. With only those who have the financial means to be able to pay for what is, frankly, quite an expensive long-term medication.
Yes, and so do you back the need for subsidies?
Yes, I do. I think that the patients who need these medications the most tend to be the ones who can afford it least, and we should be looking at least, one obesity management medication on the PBS to help our patients who have significant, what we'd call morbidity, so associated quality of life and other health conditions significantly impacting their health, as well as their ability to, earn an income and look after their family. Those are the patients that need this medication most, not as a single, focus management, but part of a broad management, including other interventions. So they need to be supported in best use of these medications. It's not a silver bullet, but it's one part of a comprehensive plan of which we didn't have access to 5 years ago.
Okay, Dr. Terri-Lynne South, I really appreciate your expertise on this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.